All right, we're going to go ahead and start, everybody. Thank you for joining us on a Monday morning. Really appreciate it. These are tough times, and I hope everybody had the best weekend possible, and I hope everybody is healthy and their friends and family are healthy as well, and are heeding all of the advice that our the authorities are giving us. I guess to try to keep things a little bit light, I'm wearing a hat today because I haven't been able to get a haircut. I think I'm the last one to realize that I actually don't have any hair, and so I'm wearing the hat so my family doesn't, they're threatening to shave my head at this point, my daughter and my wife, and so I'm going to wear the hat so they can't get to it. But if you think that they should shave my head, then please comment in the comments. And if you think they shouldn't and I should let it grow out just a little bit so there's more fuzz, let me know. Appreciate it. Thanks. All right, so CalmEffect. We're excited to be here, our purpose is really to help people learn about medical marijuana and CBD as well. For decades, I think it's about 80 or 90 years now, it has been illegal, and so there's not a lot of information about it out there. There's not a lot of studies. There's a lot of misinformation, and personally, on behalf of the organization, we believe now that it's even becoming even more complicated. So hopefully, we're going to cut through some of the the rumors and get you factual information, and we're going to be honest with you as well. When we don't have information, we'll talk to you about that as well. So please feel free to ask questions in the Q&A. I would suggest potentially, if you're going to ask a question, to hit the anonymous little radio button so that your name doesn't come through. I won't share your name. I'll hit all of the questions at the end, and if you have any other questions, you can certainly ask them at that point via the webinar. A little bit of housekeeping. There's a chat room there. Just be cautious of what you put in there because other people see it. We have the Q&A. We're recording this if you want to take a look at it later. And most of all, please tell your friends if you've learned something. Please share the information as well. We're trying to help as many people as possible. All right, that said, the standard disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, I'm somebody who is educated in this area. I've been in the business since 2017. And like I said, there is not a lot of research studies. So the FDA has not evaluated claims about CBD and medical marijuana, and so that's why you see sometimes that it's not clear, what people are talking about or what it can help. There's a lot of I don't knows, and it's up to you. And then it's downright illegal if some organizations are telling you that marijuana or CBD can do this or will solve this. They need the test to be able to say that. Okay. All right, so CalmEffect's been around since 2017. Our goal is to make it accessible and affordable. When we first got into this, we found that there are a lot of patients in Florida specifically who didn't know where to go, didn't know how to get the right information, didn't know what the process was, and frankly, they were being overcharged, and we thought that was a shame. We felt that doctor's appointments should be more affordable, and so we've worked with doctors around the state, and we're continuing to do that around the country to make it more affordable for patients so they can get into the system quickly and they can begin to get the medicine that will hopefully help them. Again, we're trying to simplify it. We believe that in some cases, there's way too much information out there, and it's information overkill. And we want to, make sure that you have, it's simplified and you know where to go. There's too many people at each part of the steps are saying, I'm confused. And that's just, it should be really easy for people. And, if you're one of the ones who are confused, you're not alone. There's just way too much of it. Resources. So we have lists of doctors. We track dispensary discounts. We have a good relationship with the state, so if there's problems with the state application process, we can help you out. And we talk about the tools. We have how-to videos and education, dispensary reviews, so that you can get the information that you need to be able to take the next step. All right, so the next thing is illegal versus legal. What really does it mean? So technically, marijuana, even in medical form, is still illegal nationwide. That being said, and again, I'm not a lawyer, the country has said that each of the individual states can make up their own decision about whether to legalize it or not for that particular state, and that the national, the federal government will not step in and overrule that or make arrests. And so, to this day, we found that that has been the case. We're based in Florida. If you're not from Florida, this is still appropriate for you. But we haven't seen any cases where somebody's been approved and they've had trouble with the federal government, or dispensaries open had trouble with the federal government. What it does mean, though, is that certain federal programs conflict with a state medical marijuana. So, for example, that's why we see that insurance and credit cards are not used in medical marijuana, because they're federal, they go over state lines, and there's concerns on their side. So that's why you see that. All right, so there are some states, that have approved it, and there are other states that haven't approved it. I think there's about 33 states now that have medical or recreational. So the basic process is that you would see a doctor first, and then you would certify with the state. And so there are all sorts of doctor's appointments you can get out there. The reality is, the law says that you have to see a doctor in person every 7 months, and that's for the state of Florida. In other states, it could be a year, it could be 2 years. Florida's decided that it's every 7 months. So you'd see a doctor, you'd show them your medical records, because their job is to verify that you have a condition already, and then they can say medical marijuana is an appropriate substitute for whatever your doctor prescribed for you at that time. So they typically want to see medical records so that they can say, see, John Doe has XYZ, and I'm comfortable recommending medical marijuana for that. The next step in the process is you file with the state. Most states have the same kind of process. I think Maine's a little bit different, and some others may be a little bit different. But ultimately, it's, in Florida at least, it's really it's a formality. We've never seen somebody get rejected from the state if a doctor has approved it. The only issues are sometimes with data inaccuracies, or if you have trouble proving that you're a resident because your driver's license is incorrect. That can be a little bit challenging, but we've been able to maneuver around that and get people approved in spite of with other documentation. It looks like more people are thinking that I should shave my head than grow it out. So thanks for that feedback, everybody. I appreciate it. Again, if you missed the beginning, we're taking a poll on whether I should actually go all the way and shave the head, or let the fuzz grow out, because I can't get a haircut right now. All right, so once you've applied with the state, and the state charges $75 plus $2.50 to do it online, it typically takes about 2 weeks. It's a little bit longer right now because of all the challenges that we're dealing with. But ultimately, they'll send you an email, and then you can actually check in your online account where you actually registered to see if you've been approved. Once you've been approved, you can then go to any of the dispensaries or have them deliver. The dispensaries want to see the email that you're approved. If you haven't received it yet, you'll get the physical card in the mail a couple of weeks later. It's usually about a month. So 2 weeks to get the email, 4 weeks to get the hard card, but you don't need the hard card in order to go to a dispensary. So let's dig a little bit deeper in each of those. The doctor's part of the process. Okay, so I mentioned that it's 7 months. There are some doctors that charge as little as $99. There's others that charge $299. What's the difference? Well, that's what you really have to ask those doctors. Typically, the doctor's appointment could be anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on how many questions you have or how detailed the doctor goes. But what we find is it's really, about a 20-minute appointment to talk to the doctor, to learn a little bit of medical marijuana. And because there's so much, there's not the scientific data that says if you have X, do Y, right? It's all a journey anyway, right? And we recommend that people try a little bit and then start increasing to see how they feel. If they feel too much, then they can pull back. But it's, then some doctors charge every couple months for you to go in there to continue. It depends how in-depth your doctor wants you to be. If you feel comfortable with marijuana, and you just want to do the minimum requirements, and you can see a doctor every 7 months, and 7 months later you go in to get recertified, and then you can continue shopping at the dispensaries. If you're somebody who maybe wants a little more attention, and has a lot more questions, and wants to dig deeper into it, maybe going to see a doctor every couple months, if that's what you want to do, is fine. Or you can join a program like our VIP program, where we continuously educate people. And I'll let you know at the end that our VIP program is actually moving to a monthly fee of only $9.99, where we save you money on the doctor's appointments and dispensaries. Right now, you can get in for $19 if you're scheduling an appointment with us, or $29 on the website. So that's a killer deal. And again, it's going to move to a $9.99. If you paid the $19 or the $29 already, thank you very much. And you'll be grandfathered in and you won't be charged monthly, but moving forward, it'll be $9.99. What else can we tell you about doctors? Each doctor probably has their own paperwork that they want you to fill in. It's a pain in the neck, but they want their information. And again, the doctors that we're working with are pro-cannabis, but do need to know that it's the right thing for you. You have to have one of the qualifying conditions, that starts with like HIV and cancer and AIDS and PTSD and ALS and Parkinson's. There's a few more. And then many doctors are comfortable with chronic pain and anxiety because they're similar to some of those other ones, but you do have to prove that you have that. Some doctors may be able to take you as a patient and actually determine what your condition is, but they probably won't be able to prescribe medical marijuana for you right then. They'll probably want to see you a little bit later, once they've established a relationship with you. So that's the doctor's appointment. Some of the doctor's staff will help you right after the appointment to apply. Others that give you a piece of paper for you to complete at home. CalmEffect can help you over the phone if you have any challenges with it. You can mail it in if you want to. We don't recommend that. In fact, we've never had somebody actually mail it in our 3 years of doing this. So go online. It's not too tough. We have a link a little bit later that'll show you exactly where to go for that. And when you fill in the state application, it's on the state website. You'll change the passwords. Essentially, you'll want to make sure that all the information is correct. You'll upload some proof of residence, which is typically your driver's license. Make sure that there's a photo in there. And then you electronically sign and you pay them their $77.50 for that. Once you're approved, then you can go to any of the dispensaries or have them delivered to you if they do that. If they're going to deliver to you, it has to be to you because they have to check your ID and you have to pay cash. At the dispensaries, most of them only accept cash as well. And there's a wide variety of different types of products that you can get there, and we'll go through those in a little bit too. One note about dispensaries is, at first, there was dispensaries were far and wide. You couldn't find them. Now there's over 200 of them, and many of them deliver. In most major cities, there's a handful of them. They're starting to build in the suburbs as well. Many of the local communities were against it at first and are now starting to see that it's not as bad as it used to be. If you've not been to a dispensary, it's not what you probably imagined. It's not like an old pawn shop or head shop. They're attractive looking, buildings that are almost more pharmacy looking like. And they basically probably have their business logo. There's nothing that says, marijuana here or, makes it stick out like a sore thumb. All right, we have a lot of questions about telemedicine. Telemedicine has been, is legal in 5 states, okay, all the time. That's Maine, Rhode Island, Oklahoma, Missouri, and New York. Florida specifically has now allowed telemedicine in the short term for existing patients to see their doctors. And so again, I'll say that again. If you've already gotten your card and you're up for renewal at the 7-month period, Florida doctors do have the ability to use telemedicine if that individual doctor has it, as long as that was the doctor that saw you before. As of now, telemedicine, 100% telemedicine is not legal for first-time patients in Florida. That being said, we're working with some doctors now who will do most of it via telemedicine, and they just need you to drive by so they can quickly meet you in person to qualify for the physical presence part of it. So I think that's a real good compromise from some of these doctors, where you can do most of it online and you just have to schedule the time to drive by there, check in quickly. You don't have to get out of your car. Somebody from the office will meet you right in the parking lot or right on the road. So they can just check that off the checkbox and make sure everybody's compliant. If you're in the Orlando, Melbourne, or Boca areas, send us an email right afterwards at info@CalmEffect so we can try to schedule you for that. Appointments are limited, but those doctors are trying to help people and we really appreciate it. Screens are covering here. Oh yeah, just looked in the chat and one doctor's charging $500 for every 6 months. Thanks for that comment. I can't justify why that is reasonable for a doctor. None of the doctors we work with charge more than probably $199 on their, well, they probably charge $199, $249 on their website, but we've been able to negotiate rates for $99 and $149 for every 7 months. 500 over 6 months is very expensive. All right, so, what is marijuana and what is CBD and what is THC? Okay, so again, here's a case. I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to simplify it, right? The marijuana plant, cannabis, has a bunch of different chemicals in it, right? There's CBD, there's THC, and there's a whole lot of other ones that people are still trying to study. CBD is the chemical that a lot of people are saying is helping them with pain relief, with anxiety, and those kind of things. We can't say for sure that it does because it's each person hasn't been studied, but that's what people are saying, and that's why you're seeing the rush to get CBD. CBD, can be sold over the counter. You have to make sure that you know where you're getting it from. Everybody and their friends are offering CBD nowadays, whether it be at retail stores, online, or at the local salon or shoe store. You want to know where you're getting it from. You want to know that it's a good company and that it's consistent each time. THC is that chemical that causes the euphoria or quote unquote gets you high. To have THC in a medical state, you need to have a license. Again, to get CBD, you don't need a license, right? So you could, in theory, get that from a gas station, but I don't think you'd want to, or online. What else can I tell you? The combination between CBD and THC, people are reporting helps even better. If you're not getting the relief you want from CBD, then perhaps getting the medical marijuana license for both, that includes both of them, will help you, okay? As far as brand names and strains and terms and all that kind of stuff, you'll hear a lot of things like terpenes and sativas and indicas. What we believe is that when you go to the dispensary, you should be thinking about just a few different things. That you should be thinking about, are you looking to help relief of a physical pain or anxiety or something like that? Are you concerned about being high, and having to work or being too tired? And then what way do you really want to take it, right? Other than that, it's a lot of noise because, again, it's your own individual journey. If there was somebody who had my body composition, had my conditions, and we both tried something, we might feel something differently. So we recommend, don't get caught up in the 31 flavors that any one dispensary might have. Tell them you're looking for something for chronic pain. You want to make sure that you're not getting sleepy or high. You're looking to vape it or you're looking for a topical solution. They may have 5 options for you, but your guess is as good as theirs about which one's really going to work. We recommend you keep a journal. We recommend you talk to your friends or CalmEffect or your doctor or the dispensary to let them know what you're feeling, and then they can recommend something the next time, right? So go with vanilla ice cream at first, and then if you're looking for something with a little more, you add some chocolate chips in there, or the next time you go to chocolate ice cream. But again, you don't have to go straight to Rocky Road or Kilwin's Tracks or something like that, right? Start simple, see how you feel. If you're somebody who is afraid of being high or that euphoric feeling, then start slow, start with a little bit, see how you feel off of it, right? The worst case scenario is you take too much and go to sleep and you'll sleep it off, or you might eat a lot, right, and beat up a bag of Doritos. But we have no known cases of people overdosing on marijuana or something like that. And if you take it in a slow, methodical way, you hopefully won't get too high, and you can tailor it back the next time. But don't be afraid. We hear too many people who try something and don't feel anything, or tried too much and felt something, and instead of kind of adjusting the course and saying, okay, well, maybe I took it on an empty stomach and it really impacted me, they stop using it. And one thing I forgot to say in the beginning is, this is a natural product, right? It's a natural option, and so we believe that people should have the option to be able to take advantage of it, right? And they shouldn't have to depend on pharmaceuticals that are addictive. They shouldn't have to deal with the pain. And so we just look at this as just an option for people who are interested to look into and to take and to test, and without the side effects that some of the other things have or the pain that people are dealing with. All right, so I'm not going to go into sativa and indica and terpenes in this case because I think that's way too much information for people when they're first starting out. The reality is, like I said, try product A, see how you like it, adjust from there. I compare it to going into a soda store, right? If you go to a soda store, not that there's, well, I guess there's soda fountains, old school at the pharmacies, but if you're going to a soda store and you said, I'm looking for a soda beverage, and they said, well, we've got Coke, we got Pepsi Light, we got Fanta, we got Sunkist, we got RC, we got root beer, we got cream, your head would explode, right? As opposed to just saying, why don't you try Coca-Cola? If it's too sweet, next time we'll go to Diet Coke. If it's not sweet enough, then we'll move you to Pepsi. Oh, you're looking for an orange flavor, maybe you should try Sunkist, right? And so look at it that way as in a journey or process. All right. How do you take it? Okay, so old school, right? You know, when we were kids or when friends of ours were kids, not kids, but in college or whatever, somebody would hand you a joint and you didn't know what was in that joint or what, what kind you were smoking or anything like that. Nowadays, like I said, these dispensaries are producing it so they know more about it. So each time you consume it, it should be similar. It may be different because they're different crops, but it should be similar. So you can certainly smoke it. Smoking was legalized this past year in Florida, so you can buy a pre-roll. You can get bulk, so you can roll your own. And then vaping. Vaping is very popular because it doesn't take it to the to the temperature that smoking does, so it's not technically burning, but it is inhaling, some smoke and that, not the smoke that burns, but so the vapor. Tinctures or drops, right? You can put drops under your tongue, edibles or capsules or gummies that you can take and swallow. Topicals you'd rub on your arm. If you had arthritis on your shoulder, you'd do that. And then there's other types of ways to take it as well, like there's suppositories if that's the way that's best for you to take it. As far as the vaping crisis goes, all information kind of shows that it was, and this isn't official, this is qualitative, that it was black market vapes that had other stuff in there that were really causing the problems. Long term, do we believe that vaping is better than smoking? Probably, but it's still too early to tell. And anybody who tells you that vaping is 100% healthy is probably lying. You just want to be careful like anything else. Other things we can tell you about how do you take it. If you're looking for long-term relief, like 6 hours or through the night, like to sleep, then you probably want to take a drop, a tincture, or an edible that lasts longer. It takes a little bit longer for them for you to feel it, the onset, but the life of it lasts longer. When you vape or you smoke, it's going to hit you quicker, and it's going to go away quicker as well. So for example, if you have acute pain, like right now with the stabbing pain, vaping and smoking might be the right way to do it. If you're trying to get through the night, go with a capsule or a tincture. If you're trying to go to sleep and you've taken your tincture, your edible, and it's hasn't affected you yet, and you feel a flare up, then smoke a little bit right then or vape a little bit. Again, start low, go slow as you increase it. It would be fantastic if you found your exact solution on day number 1 or day number 2, but it may take a little while. Embrace it, get to know it, right, and look at it as a new experience. How can CalmEffect help? Via doctor's appointments. We can help you with application assistance with the state registries. If you have any questions about products, we have connections at most of the dispensaries and we can get in pretty quickly with you. And then we have our VIP program that I mentioned earlier that has continuous education and how-tos and discounts. We've sourced our own CBD from a reputable company that we're comfortable with that has gummies and topicals and bath bombs and that kind of stuff as well. And that is it. So this is a high-level introduction to medical marijuana. I'm going to check in the question area now to see what people if anybody has any questions. All right, from an anonymous attendee. That's a good question. Okay, so I should probably read the question. The question is regarding religious beliefs. They don't condone going to doctors. And so this attendee wants to know if they'll be able to get a card for their conditions. I will tell you that it's possible. We probably have to find you a doctor that's a little more comfortable with diagnosing you themselves, but they technically be a doctor, so I don't know if that would run counter to your religious beliefs. I think that it will be tough for you to get a card by just having the doctor say, I believe exactly what you're saying. They probably want to do, have a conversation with you and do some tests. If you're comfortable with that, it might be okay. If you want to send us an email with that same question to info@CalmEffect, we'll know that it came with you and your contact information. We can give you a call and walk you through it. All right. So that's that one. All right. We have another question. A customer's first time registering, what are the next steps to using a dispensary? I think we went over that. I know this question was asked before, we went over that, so thanks for the question. When you say registering, I'm going to assume that you've seen a doctor and they've approved you and you've registered in the system. We have a great team over here, and if you're looking for questions about specific dispensaries, we'd be happy to answer those. Again, you can send a quick email to info@calmeffect.com. We'll be happy to help you with that. But ultimately, you have access to the dispensaries that are legal around the state. You can go in there if they're open. Because of COVID-19, I should say, you probably can't go in the dispensary at this point. They're doing pickups. So you can take a look at some of their products online, and then they'll bring it out to you once you order it. Or you can order it to be delivered, and they'll deliver to your house. The good news is when they deliver, it's typically subtle, right? It's not going to be a big neon arrow that says marijuana being delivered here, so that your neighbors see. They'll get out, they'll maintain their social distancing. I'd ask them that question, and you'll show them your driver's license, that they know you're the right person, and then they'll accept cash at that point. If you're still here, the person asked that question and that answers your question, let me know. Otherwise, I'd be happy to talk more about it. All right, let's see if we have any other questions. Okay, I think we're done with questions. Is there anybody else out there who wants to ask a question? Please use the Q&A right now. All right, so you can find information about CalmEffect at www.calmeffect. If you have questions, you can email info@CalmEffect. We would love if you would tell your friends about us. We're trying to help as many people as possible, especially during these tough times. And thank you very much. Keep in contact. Oh, one question just came up. Just in the nick of time, so I'll answer it. I'm not sure I understand the question. So there are dispensaries around the state. There are dispensaries around the state, so it depends where you live, and you could choose. There's different brands of dispensaries. There's just like McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's. There's probably about a dozen different brands of dispensaries now. Do me a favor. You have a lot of questions, which are great questions. Send us an email to info@CalmEffect, and we'd be happy to walk you through everything. Really, we're here to help you. Lake Worth, Florida, there's a bunch of them. That's a hotbed for dispensaries over in Lake Worth and Boynton. So we can point you in the right direction there. Send us an email. We'll be happy to walk you through it. We'd love to help. We have another question about how much can you buy for a month? That's actually a fantastic question. So the way the state works, right? So they don't technically call it a prescription. They call it a recommendation. And unlike pharmaceutical pills, they're not going to say you have, take 3 Advil 3 times a day for 5 days. They're going to say you have 7,000 milligrams, and I'm making this up, of Advil available to you for 70 days, right? There's 70-day prescriptions or recommendations technically, and typically if you get the full 7 months, like from the CalmEffect doctors, you'll get 3 of those. And so what you'll see is 3 pools that each last 70 days, and it's a total amount of milligrams. And in theory, you could buy all of it in one day if you had the money and they had the supply. I don't know if you need to do that, but there should be plenty in there. If you've seen a CalmEffect doctor, they're typically generous with the amount of milligrams they give so that you can have enough so that you can try some different ways to take it and some different types of strains, because they know you're going to be going on that journey. Your name looks familiar. I think maybe you did go through CalmEffect. So thank you. And if you have specific questions, you can ask us. But the answer is you should be able to buy enough. We have, at CalmEffect, we've only had 3 people in the last 3 years who ran out of milligrams. And so that tells you that, the hundreds and thousands of people that we've helped, they give plenty of information there. If that answers your question, please let me know. If you have another question, please follow up. I guess I'll give it a couple more seconds for any other questions. We've got time and we want to help. I'll report now on the chat. It looks like everybody voted that I should shave my head. So I'm not going to tell my family the results of this. Please don't either. No, I'm just kidding. I'll tell them. All right. You're welcome. Thank you for the question. All right. So that seems like that's about it. Again, we're available. You can fill in a form on calmeffect.com. We're going to be scheduling more of these webinars to help out. Email us at info@calmeffect.com. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. These are tough times, and I wish everybody the best of health. Have a good day. Thanks.